Merry Christmas, everybody! This is my reading wrap-up for 2025. Every book that I read this year, reviewed in about 1 to 2 sentences each. And as you can tell, there's a lot of them, so let's get started. If you don't know me, I am Grace. I am a book talker, lifestyle creator. In other words, one of those annoying people that gets made fun of online for doing makeup videos that people don't really care about, and except for the fact that they do care about them, and I get sent PR packages. Welcome back to the bookshelf, or welcome if you're new. I'm Grace, and today we are doing my end of year reading review, which is a lot of books. In case you didn't have a concept of how many it was, this is about a seventh of it. It's a lot. Yeah. 2025 was a really big year for me. It's when I started doing content. Today is when I got to meet all of you guys on the interwebs doing the things. And lately I've had a lot of fun stuff planned regarding like holiday themed videos that I wanted to do. Hence the Santa hat. I'm filming this on Christmas Eve, which some might say is insane and chaotic, but such as me, I am chaotic. On my Instagram, I asked you guys if you wanted me to review them in depth or just like with a couple sentences, and a lot of people said just do 1 to 2 sentences. It's a trend that a lot of other book creators have been doing. 2025 was a really big year for me because I started doing content, and that means that I learned a lot about myself and how to film and how to like use a microphone. And also, I think that making content is really good for understanding yourself, too. That you have a documentation of your life at that specific moment. And there's really no better way to document your life than to make videos on the internet for complete strangers. So here I am. There is one book, well, actually there are a lot of books that were library books that I didn't get to buy copies of. Because, I am just a simple girl and I only have so much bookshelf space. So I don't have every single book that I read this year physically, but they're here in spirit. First book is called A Taste for Monsters by Matthew J. Kirby. This one I would describe it as sort of like Me Before You, if it was about Jack the Ripper in Victorian London. And that's kind of an inside joke, the Me Before You thing. It's really not like Me Before You with like Sam Claflin or whatever his name is, the dude that always plays the dead guys. True crime meets girl who's not quite like the other girls, but she also is like permanently disfigured, so it's like you can't really make fun of her because she's not like the other girls. Actually, she's not like the other girls. Love watching true crime before you fall asleep, and you don't have to turn the lights on afterwards. Is Picking Daisies on Sundays by Liana Sincotti. It took me 6 months to learn how to pronounce her name. This is like, if you love student-teacher romances that aren't student-teacher romances, but they feel like it because he's technically a TA, but she's also about to graduate, so she's not going to be a student anymore in like 2 weeks. But also, they knew each other when they were kids, but also he technically has a girlfriend. This is the book for you. I'm here for the mess and the drama and the lore, just like you are. Picking Daisies on Sundays. I gave this like 5 stars. It's really, really good. She deserves way more credit than she gets online. Also, Shakespeare Was a Woman by Elizabeth Winkler. Seriously, one of the best. Seriously, one of the best books. I don't love nonfiction, usually. Shakespeare, also, if you hear me like a little bit congested, I wasn't joking about the fact that I can't really breathe out of one nostril. I'm suffering a little bit, but that's okay, because I show up anyway, because you guys are amazing. So, Shakespeare's a Woman and Other Heresies by Elizabeth Winkler basically debunks the idea that Shakespeare was a man, because that's long been assumed in the scholarly community. And this basically takes to bat that idea and argues that Shakespeare could have been a woman, or a rich person pretending to be a commoner, or may have been like a few different people, because it was 500 years ago, so you don't really know. And also discusses just the general stigma around researching other ideas by the predominantly male scholarly community of Oxford, the Shakespearean scholars. It's a very small community, very close-minded. So It's kind of like a little cult vibe. I don't know why I said that like it was cute. Like just a little cult, just a little cult. It's cute. Also a little moment for the hair today. I was quite proud of myself. My hair actually did like the perfect curl today. So this was my Christmas Eve hair. Now we're back in Santa mode. So next one, I actually didn't finish this one. Whoopsie. Next one is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This one is actually getting a movie adaptation coming out in January. Very, very excited. I've been like reposting the trailers to my Instagram stories. I know Tom Blythe in a different way than many people do. I remember him from his Quinn days. A small community, but I know what you are. So, People We Meet on Vacation is like friends to lovers, but the guy is socially awkward, and the girl has chronic insecurity. So, kind of like the regular dating spectrum today. Except also, she works at a magazine, so it kind of has that like 2000s flavor where literally every rom-com female lead worked at a magazine as like an editor or a fashion editor or writer. This is basically that. Begin Again by Emma Lord. This one is like Jess and Rory from Gilmore Girls, but he's a grumpy RA on her floor. I loved this one because I had just started college when I read it. I was like second semester freshman year. And I really needed like something uplifting about how college could be positive because I was going through a bit of a rough stint with my college experience. And so I was like, you know what? We really need like a mood booster. So, also amazing, The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. This one is like Groundhog Day mixed with Love Actually and a hint of Valentine's Day with Taylor Swift and also a little bit of the Lover album. I feel like that tells you all you need to know. Also 5 stars. Next one is Welcome to the Neighborhood by Lisa Rowe. This one amazingly is like Gilmore Girls mixed with The Help, mixed with like WandaVision. I don't know how to explain it otherwise. Basically, this woman who comes from the city moves to this really cultish suburban community. It talks about domestic violence. It talks about how women are pitted against each other when really it's the roles that we're put into that make us feel like we have to compete with other women. And it's really hard to sound like philosophical when I look up and I'm wearing a Santa hat. I'm like talking about deep issues and then I'm just like, ho, ho, ho. Lisa Rowe is really talented with using a setting that's very overused, like suburban life, and making it feel very imprisoning and like claustrophobic. Next one, I went on a little fan fiction YA Wattpad trip. And I know that this gets called the yeehaw version of The Summer I Turned Pretty online. Genuinely though, I do love My Life with the Multiple Boys. Not the book. I thought the book was kind of outdated in terms of like the way it talked about women. I was like, ooh, this feels like it came out in 2010. A little bit too much, if you know what I mean. People are a little too comfortable making fun of women for being themselves. But the show is amazing. I hate Alex, and I love, what's his name? The dude with the blonde hair. It's been a long year. This book, I gave, I think, 2 stars. So not as high. But I still kept it for the vibes. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This one is very nostalgic for me. I read this during my first reading vlog that I did on YouTube. You might remember from this summer. And this one is like a light fantasy, fairy training, romantasy book. I was expecting more fantasy than romance, but honestly didn't hate it. If I remember correctly, there was like an arranged marriage. Other than that, I don't remember much, to be perfectly honest, but I think I gave it like 4 stars. Sunrise on the Reaping. When I tell you that I will be the nerdiest person in that theater come November 21st of 2026, I am not joking. I love The Hunger Games. I got into it, I think, the spring of my senior year of high school. I binged all the movies in one weekend and traumatized myself for life. But Sunrise on the Reaping, I got like the Walmart exclusive version that also I got like a DVD set. Because I'm me, of course I did. When I like something, I can't just like something casually. I have to like it obsessively. Which sounds weird, but I promise it's normal. I just have like posters and I know everything about the actors. It's completely normal, I promise. But basically, I got prints of the characters and also this timeline of everything that happens in Panem. I almost said America. I mean Panem. What do you mean? It's not America. Sunrise on the Reaping, 5 stars, emotionally damaging. If you're planning on watching the movie, please, please, please read the book first, okay? I read The Devil Wears Prada by Lauren Weisberger because I watched the movie this year. I want to say springtime or summertime. I think like June. But this one came out in 2003, and you can kind of tell. There's a scene where a girl gets taken advantage of when she's drunk. Graped, if you know what I mean. I hate that I have to use that word. I think we should just use words, but I don't want to be censored forever and ever, so graped it is. But basically, Devil Wears Prada, her sister, the girl's sister, gets raped, and she was drunk, and so the main character in the movie, Anne Hathaway, is literally like, well, maybe it's because of your drinking problem. I think we need to address that. And I'm like, excuse me? Less points for that, but otherwise it kept pretty faithful to the movie, so it's a pretty enjoyable read. This one is There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job by Kuko Sumura. Pronounced that correctly. And basically, this is a take on post-capitalist culture where it is merit, and the only merit that you provide is your job, and you don't have a life outside of your job, and the only way that you feel good about yourself is through your job. And this is about a woman who has like 16 different jobs. One of them is like she's a spy. You Were Liars. I read this in August, I want to say. Also was not prepared for the ending. I don't think anyone really was. I did watch the show, and every time that someone plays Saturn by sleeping at last, I'm like, somebody is gonna die. Somebody is gonna die. Why do you do this to me? First it was Outer Banks, okay? Then it's We Were Liars, and now they're doing a second season, and I'm gonna watch it, obviously, but like I'm gonna be crushed. Undercurrents of adoption and blended families. It's a pretty popular one in terms of YA romance. It's kind of been marketed a lot online. I would say her book, The Do-Over, I like more. But Better Than the Movies is like, it's a classic read. It's feel good. It's easy breezy. It looks thicker than it feels. I'll put it that way. It's really hard to put down. I kind of finished it in 2 sittings, like over the course of a day. I think I woke up like at 6 a.m. on a summer morning, mind you, post finals, because I was so desperate to find out what happened before anyone else in my house woke up. Diary of Pringle Rose, by Susan Campbell Bartoletti. This one is kind of what started for me the whole trend of like he's hot but he's also the villain. I didn't know that that is such a good thing. But basically, this is about a girl who escapes the Chicago fire and is trying to solve her parents' murder while caring for her disabled brother. So it's a very sweet story in terms of family. And I think I gave this one 5 stars. I read it when I was 13, and then I reread it recently. The Dear America books are largely out of print, but this is really, really good. J.K. Rowling, The Fantastic Beasts screenplay. I love reading screenplays. You know, it's not for everybody. You kind of have to do a lot of mental imaginary work, but I do still like it. It looks like a classic edition, you know? I like those covers better usually. So I gave this one 5 stars. The Secrets of Dumbledore, the complete screenplay. We have yet another screenplay. And I love this one too, okay? It's just I just love Harry Potter so much. I've really missed filming videos. Like, this is so much fun. Like, it was already a really good Christmas time for me. Like, I'm doing a lot of things that I've been meaning to do over break. Content is so fulfilling for me. Making videos makes me so happy. Getting to talk to people every day about stuff that I love makes me happy. Getting rewarded for it through, like, brands noticing me is really fun. And, like, I've just really missed, like, my YouTube community as well. Wednesday, the novelization. I got into Wednesday this year as well. 2025 was a big goth year for me. I got into metal and Wednesday. And I would say that Wednesday taught me that you don't have to be the quirky funny girl to get the guy. Except for when the guy's the killer, then maybe not. But basically, this is a novelization. I will say it's a pretty weak novelization. But if you're a fan of the show, it's like, you're along for the ride. You're kind of just watching the show play out in your head. So I gave this one like 3 stars. It's good, but like it's not, you couldn't read it instead of the show. You know, they're not exactly the same. Early January of 2025. I think I got it New Year's Eve, literally on New Year's Eve of 2024. Um, this one is Keeper of the Lost Cities Unraveled, but basically this is like the sarcastic love interest gets his own book, and I was so excited because I'm Team Keef in like the Team Fitz, Team Keef love triangle. You didn't see that. I'm Team Keef all day, every day. All day, every day. This one is Cozy, The Art of British Comfort by Laura Weir. This one is like if the holiday aesthetic on Pinterest had a baby. And that is all I'm going to tell you about it. 5 stars. Betting on You by Lynn Painter. I will say probably my least favorite out of all the Lynn Painter books. This one's probably my least favorite. I don't love the premise as much, and I feel like it's more contrived than the other ones. But the Do-Over is also my top favorite in general. But Betting on You, like, they're so good. Like, when I say it's the weakest, all of her books are really good. It's not my favorite. Fake Skating by Lynn Painter. There's a lot of Lynn Painter here. 2025 was the year of Lynn Painter. Some people, they had Sad Girl Summer. Some people had Brat Summer. Other people had Lynn Painter Summer. This one, Fake Skating, is like hockey romance, but better. So you know how everybody's been talking about heated rivalry? This is my heated rivalry. Except it's about a girl and a guy. Covering his team. She's like assistant manager at the high school. They used to be best friends, but now he's really popular and she's not. Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. I love this one. It is a sequel to Better Than the Movies. I do still love the first one more. Nothing Like the Movies had some consent issues for me. Like, it just kind of hit wrong in terms of consent. But honestly, it's still really good. Like, if you look at the cover, they're recreating like the Jack and Rose Titanic moment. But basically, in this one, they're in college and they broke up, and he's trying to win her back. And she is like the videographer for his baseball team in college. And it's really, really good. And there's like an accident, and they have to work on projects. I was in a reading slump so bad earlier this month. I got off finals and I just like could not read. Like, I just was scrolling Instagram all the time, and I was like, I need something to read that I can bear to read for more than 5 minutes. And I was tired of like reading books that I was supposed to be reading. Like, there's nothing less motivating to me than when I'm like, okay, I have to read this. So I decided to go back to the OG YA 2010s fantasy books. Mortal Instruments. I just whacked myself in the face with it. Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. Basically, this one, I call it my hot demon hunter book. But it's way more than that. It's also about like shadow hunters, and there's demons and vampires and werewolves. I'm into fantasy now. I crossed a bridge and there's no coming back. I feel this innate like craving now for just like the original fantasy books and like the shows and like Supernatural and the Vampire Diaries. Like, I just want to watch all of them because I love the idea that something can exist alongside your world that you had no idea was there. And I think it's very comforting, for a lot of people, especially in the 2010s. I saw that they recently added the movie back to Netflix, and I'm very excited to watch that over the holiday break. I'm so excited. Six of Crows. This was my original fantasy journey. Leigh Bardugo. I'm really getting into her books. I have a whole list of stuff I'm going to read of hers in 2026. And that will be a separate video as well of like all the books I want to read in January and like kind of over the year in general. Six of Crows is really good. I love Kaz. And I'm going to be watching Shadow and Bone too, because Shadow and Bone has the Six of Crows plotline as well. I don't care about the Shadow and Bone plotline. I could care less about the Shadow Daddy. I care about Kaz and Inej and Nina and Matthias and Jesper and Wylan. I don't care about Shadow and Bone and Alina Starkov, whatever her name is. I want to know about the heist and the prison breakout in Catterdam. Jane and Love. I read this by Rachel Givney in November on my break from school, and I read this in like 6 hours. I had like a day off. It was so good. 5 stars. Jane Austen basically travels to when her movie is being adapted, and she becomes best friends with the lead actress, and she meets the lead actress's brother, and they have a romance. and she has to decide between like going back to her own time in writing or finding true love. And it's so emotional, and it discusses aging and Hollywood beauty standards. And like, I got emotional and I was like, I'm reading a Jane Austen book. Why am I crying about how women aren't allowed to age? Like, Meg and Jo by Virginia Contra. This is a retelling of Little Women, and I love this one because I just got the Beth and Amy one. I think it's this green one right here. I reread it. I do count rereads as reads because I'm reading the book again, you know what I mean? And I just need a little break, something that I've read before, something comforting. So, Meg and Jo, basically, it's like a spicier version of Little Women in every sense of the word. So, around the summertime, I also read the Maxton Hall book, Save Me by Mona Caiston. Love the show. James Beaufort is my dream book boyfriend. And I really is like Divine Rivals meets Prep School meets peak Jacob Elordi on Netflix. In July, I read the entire The Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy in honor of season 3 coming out, which was a moment, okay? It was a moment in time. And I got the edition with the actors on it, so there's Belly, and I loved it. I loved the last one the most, but they're just very nostalgic for me. They remind me of like when romance and teen books were really like peak romance. And that is every book that I read this year in 2025. And those are, it's a lot. It's a lot of books, and there's more. I read like Normal People, I Will Blossom Anyway. I read, both of those are 5 stars too. Amazing books. I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe, 1 star. And I have a lot of books that I'm going to be reading in 2026 too. So I can't wait to make like more videos over winter break. I'm going to be doing like a present haul video. I'm going to be doing like an end of year wrap up video, kind of combining my Instagram and TikTok and YouTube audiences. And thank you so much for watching. You can like and subscribe if you don't mind seeing my face and you'd like to see it more often. You can subscribe. And make sure to like the video as well, so more people can see what I read this year. Join me on Goodreads, join me on Instagram, TikTok, so you can be involved in stuff and see more of like my day-to-day life. I'm always on there. I'm always posting. I really have nothing better to do now than just post and make canvas for you guys. I will see you next time, before the end of the year, but eventually it will be 2026. Thank you for coming back to the bookshelf, and I will see you next time. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.